master cylinders. They're really, really, really quick. Okay, they have to multiply the time that it takes, basically in a split of a second, to gush in all the brake fluid in front of the master cylinder piston and apply the brake. And vice versa, when you depressure the brake pedal, vice versa, the check valve pushes up, it sucks in all the brake fluid back in the reservoir. It really acts up really fast. Okay, tire problems can cause brake problems too. Okay, eventually, what's making the car to come to a stop? Tire and the road, right? The friction between the tire and the road. If the tire's bad, your brakes might be perfectly fine, but if you don't have rubber on the tire, guess what? You're going to skid into somebody. You're not going to come to a stop. Okay, and if you have a good tire and a bad tire on one axle, that's going to cause a lot of problem too. Was that? Yeah, well, if you have misalignment or alignment out of specs, that can pull to one side too. If you have a bent part on the suspension, it will pull to one side and make you feel like, one of the calipers grabbing more than the other. Okay? That's one thing that you got to remember. Okay. All right, let's play this video, see if it'll play. If it does, it'd be awesome. Don't look like it. Oh, it is. Awesome.
Hydraulic valves. Start your diagnosis of a brake concern with a thorough customer interview. Complaints of brake fade or a mushy pedal can be related to contaminated brake fluid or air.
Okay, let me fix this real quick. B5C1D1. Okay, we'll fix that. Give me 1 second, okay? Well, how about we skip this video? I'll try to put it up there. I think I did, as a matter of fact. It's online?
Oh,
Yes, it is.
The other
Okay.
video don't work.
Was that?
The other one.
I know. That's why we're doing this. Okay. The other video doesn't work. That's why we're doing this. Okay. When you test drive it on a dry, clean pavement, and also keep a route. Okay, common route, just in case if you break down. Somebody know. Let somebody know before you leave the shop too. Keep a common route so everybody know where to go find you. Well, that's not a big problem anymore because a lot of people have cell phones they can call. Okay, back in the days, cell phones were not very common, so you had to kind of tell your buddy next to you and say, "Hey, I'm going on a test drive, so keep an eye on me." Do it at different speeds because you may not. Don't overspeed though. If you overspeed, you might get in trouble. Okay. Make sure you have brakes before you go test drive. That's very important. Okay, because customers can't explain everything. Okay, don't believe what the customer tell you. Okay, they may have a complete brake failure. Okay, they may be using emergency brakes, but they don't tell you. Okay, you get in the car, back it off. Guess what? You won't come to a stop. You hit the car behind you. Guess who's liable? You. So be sure you have brakes. Was that?
If they have a car that needs to be fixed, they'll do it. They'll set you up too.
Oh yeah, they will set you up. They will set you up. I mean, I'm not saying all customers are crooked, but some of them are, and some of them are plain stupid. They don't know. They don't wanna tell you everything. They assume that you're a professional and figure it out. They said, well, why are you working on cars if you can't figure this out? That's what they'll say. And believe me, they will say that. Okay. Check for friction and noise by pressing and releasing the brake pedal several times. Okay. Of course, feel the brakes. See if you have brakes. Check for side-to-side brake pedal movement. Okay. Check stop lamp operation. Very important. If you go on a test drive, you have no brakes in the brake lights in the back. Guess what? You come to a stop, somebody in the back might run into you, and if you don't have brake lights, when the officer shows up, you get the ticket, not them. Okay, so that's very important. All right. How far does the brake pedal needs to travel? What is the safest way to tell that the brake pedal is not traveling more than it's supposed to? Well, I have a rule of foot, not rule of thumb. Okay. Basically, what you do, you're driving. Okay. You're driving. Okay. You come to a stop. What I do, I put my other foot underneath the brake pedal. If I can move my other foot underneath the brake pedal, it's got good brake pedal height. Okay? If the brake pedal is crushing my other foot, and I'm not able to move it, guess what? You have a low pedal. You have a low pedal. That's a good rule of thumb on most of the vehicles. You try that with the Titan, won't work. Why is that? That truck's got adjustable brake pedal height. Okay? Most of the Japanese big trucks, most of the Japanese big trucks and most of the big trucks that are shipped out overseas, okay, to Japanese countries and Chinese countries and some of the countries that people have my size people are common, they do that, okay? Short people, they need to have that brake pedal and the gas pedal adjustable. Oh, they got to sell cars too. No, one of my brothers is 6'2". I'm the oddball in my family, I think.
When you bought your car, did they give you a book right to sit on?
I bought me one. No, I didn't. Okay. Okay, visually check the brake fluid, okay, for cloudiness. That tells you if it's got water, too much water contamination in it. Cloudy brake fluid means too much water in it, too much moisture in it. Okay, dark, dirty, contaminated. It's got lots of, rubber stuff in it. That tells you it's dark and dirty brake fluid. Okay, that's probably what my Honda looks like. I'm gonna have one of you flush out the brake fluid in my car, which is, you should be able to get points for that. Okay. Non-compatible fluids. What are some of the non-compatible fluids that you could put in brake system? Power steering fluid is very commonly mixed. It's very, very, very commonly. If you do make a mistake and put power steering fluid, you realize right after you dump it in, oh no, this was brake. Guess what? It's not too late. Get that turkey baster out. Suck all of that brake fluid out. Every bit of it. Okay? If you have to, if it's a removable reservoir, remove the reservoir and wash it out with brake cleaner. Okay? Clean every bit of it. Once you pump the brakes after that, guess what? You circulate that power steering fluid through the system, you replace a whole bunch of parts than just cleaning out the reservoir. Okay? Keep in mind, I had a student do this at co-op and get fired at a job that he wasn't getting paid. So that's kind of tough, but you got to keep your mind in one place. Okay? You can't be. That's why I say keep the cell phone away when you're working on the cars, because your significant other or somebody might call you, and he or she would really tick you off, and your attention is divided now, and you probably make silly mistakes. Okay? Sometimes some of these mistakes can cost you a lot. When you're working on brakes, you're talking about somebody's life. Okay? When you're talking about somebody's life, you got to pay close attention. Okay? Make sense? Okay, let's move on. We're coming to an end on this chapter, guys, and I'd like to finish this up if I can. Okay, ABS fluid level. You have to basically check the brake fluid level with the ignition key on, okay, and after pumping the brake pedal, 5 or 6 times, because you do have a you do have a oh shoot, okay, that's fine. You do have a reservoir extra pressure chamber in the ABS assembly that gets pressurized as you pump the brakes. Okay, you got to get that pressure off before you check the brake level. Okay, because you might be making a mistake on that. And also, before you even bleed any ABS system, with the key off, pump the brake pedal several times. If you do have ABS, do not attempt to bleed the brakes right off the bat. Why? What happens? It may have up to 2,000 psi pressure coming out of that bleeder screw. Very rare, but that can happen. Okay? It can happen. So make sure before you bleed any car that has ABS system, make sure with the key off, engine off, pump the brake pedal several times. How many times? Maybe 20, 30 times. When you do that, you're using up that residual pressure, okay? That extra pressure that's in that chamber, okay? When you use it up, you don't have any problem, okay? When you open the bleeder, it may not, because it can, 2,000 psi coming out of that bleeder, it could rupture your skin. That's what I'm trying to say, okay? Be careful with the ABS, all right? Okay. Okay, testing for trapped air. Forget about all this. I'll tell you how to check real quick, okay? If you have air in the system, okay, what happens if you have a balloon and you push on it? Does it stay there, or it bounces back to its shape? It comes back to reforms to its shape, right? After you push a balloon back, you can compress gases, okay? You can compress air, okay? If you have air in the system, you're going to compress that air bubble into a smaller bubble. As soon as you let go on the brake pedal, what happens to that air bubble again? It expands back to its normal normal space, right? When it does that, it will push back push all that fluid out in the reservoir. Okay? If you have the reservoir cap off and you yeah, if you press on the brake pedal slowly, you don't have to be really pumping it. Okay, if you pump it, you're gonna spill out a lot of fluid. Don't do that. Slowly press through 2 or 3 times and then let go. If you see any fountain like pressure coming off in the reservoir, guess what? You do have air. That's the most simple way to find out if you have air or not. Okay? That comes from a lot of people that have done it and tried it, and see, that's what they're talking about too. If the fluid bubbles back into the master cylinder when the brake is released, air is trapped in the system. Same thing, exactly what I said. Inspect complete system for leaks and damage. Okay, test for trapped air. Test for external and internal leaks. We talked about external leaks. We'll talk about internal leaks as well in a minute. Okay, test for open vent ports. Test quick take up valves. Okay, testing for internal leaks. Did we talk about internal leaks? Yes, we did. We talked about it when bypassing master cylinder. That's a leak inside of the system. You will not see anything leaking out. But when the master cylinder bypasses, okay, when those cup seals are bypassing fluid's going past them, that's an internal leak, ain't it? Okay? What's the symptom that you'll have if you have that situation? Low brake pedal and spongy brake pedal. Okay? Low brake pedal and spongy brake pedal. Sometimes on the master cylinders, where the master cylinder meets the booster, you will see some fluid leaking below the master cylinder. That's an automatic